Hi folks, just a quick video here at Fair Village Woods. Yeah. We're still on a topic I've spoken about a few times before, but I figured, okay, do it again. Well, because it's something that comes up on a regular basis, so do it again. Okay, now, I have an impression that there's someone who has been at some point in time offended by me because their behaviour towards me and the way they were towards me changed massively. Went from considerate, kind, decent, communicative, all that sort of stuff, to inconsiderate, rude, didn't want to communicate anything. So obviously at some point in time it looks as if offence had been taken. For what reason, I do not know. That's an unknown. And it's an unknown because that person never bothered to actually communicate with me what that problem was. And of course, this is a fairly common thing that happens with people. So I thought, right, okay, I'm going to go over this again then. Okay, fine. If you are a Christian, you should basically be pretty much learning to never take offence. Because the point of it is, understand, you took offence and you decided how you were going to handle it. No one else gave you that offence, you took it. No one else decided you would handle it badly, you did. That's the reality. Again, why this is not taught in churches, I do not know. Well, I do know. I've already explained the whole point of churches, so I know why it's not taught in churches. That's why it's not taught in churches. Because accountability and all the rest is not wanted. They don't want God in the church, so therefore they don't want anything that is of God. So dealing with things the right way, actually going to God, when someone says something that you could take offence to, but going to God instead and saying to Father, is any of this true? The church doesn't care about that, not in any way, shape or form. As far as the church is concerned, they take offence all the time, don't they? People in churches. Yeah. That's why you get little cliques and stuff like that. Yeah. It's a bad situation. Because in the end, all you're doing is you're just compounding the situation. You took offence. Someone says something that hurts you, so you decided to take offence to it and handle it badly. Yeah, by changing the way you were towards a person. You're changing the way you behave because somebody offended you. But therefore you're changing your nature when you come into contact with that person. And you think that's not going to have an impact on your life? Of course it is. It's going to have a certain impact on your mental health. Of course it is. And it's going to have an impact certainly down the line when God tries to bring that to your attention and help you to understand how you handle that situation completely wrong according to the world, and you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be treating people in that way. Yeah? If you get offended by someone and then that person is basically dead to you because of that, and you're a Christian, excuse me, what are you doing? What are you doing? You shouldn't be doing that. All you're going to do is hurt yourself, because in the end you're going to have to face that. And when you face it, it's going to be painful, looking at who you were and how you dealt with stuff. You know, the only person you're really hurting is you. You may hurt the other person on the short term, but even that hurt you cause them is going to hurt you. So, it's insane. Yeah. Oh, don't worry about it. I'm fine, because, as I say, I've gone through, a considerable amount in my years. So therefore, somebody being a bit bitchy to me, because I've caused offence to them, is not the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life. So therefore, I'm fine. But it's an issue that, that person themselves, they're going to suffer the consequences of that. And that is the thing that hurts me. It's not what they're doing to me, it's what they're doing to themselves that hurts me. So, yeah. In the end, that's the reality. people are in those situations. It's like, come on, we have to understand, first of all, with regards to offence, you're not going to take offence to something that is utterly and totally ridiculous. If somebody says something that's completely insane, you're just going to laugh at it. You won't be offended by it, right? You won't. You won't be offended by anything you know is completely and utterly wrong and is obviously wrong. You'll only be offended by stuff that there's maybe some truth in it. That's why it offends you. Because maybe they're getting a bit too close to the truth and you get offended by that. And your offence is your way of trying to push back on that. Really, generally speaking, isn't that really what offence is? You get offended because somebody is saying something to you that's caused you pain, but anything that is completely ridiculous would never cause you pain. It wouldn't. It wouldn't have any impact on you at all because it's completely ridiculous. Why would that even bother me? It only bothers you because it's not completely ridiculous, is it? Yeah. Well, I spoke about it from a Christian point of view. From a Son of God point of view, come on. Yeah. You think there's any way, shape or form you should be playing those games if you're supposed to be a Son of God? I said to be a Son of God, you've got to have the nature of God. Now, God gets offended by some things. Sure, he does. Yeah. Sin is offensive to God. And sin should be offensive to you. But that doesn't mean you change your nature towards a human being because you're offended about their behaviour. We're supposed to understand that people are forgiven. If they're forgiven, then you treat everyone the same. Because everyone is forgiven. Everyone is a sinner. So therefore you treat them all the same. You don't go cold towards people because of something they've said or done. Not if you have the nature of Father. Do you think really there's anything that you can say or do to offend Father? If there isn't, then how can anything offend you that anyone else says or does? Because if you're okay getting offended by other people, then you're basically saying to Father, okay, when I do anything like that, you have the right to be offended by me. I'm telling you that if you're not offended by me, then I'm a better judge of things than you are. Yeah, that ain't going to work, is it? I don't think Father's going to take that and say, yeah, that's good. Yeah, you keep thinking that way. Yeah. You're supposed to have his nature. You're not supposed to try and replace him. I struggle with all this. And when someone I care about very, very much is sort of, dealing with things in that way, that's bad. That's not good in any way, shape or form. As I say, I'm okay. I'm fine. I mean, at the moment, I'm incredibly disappointed in this person. Incredibly disappointed. This is a person who impressed me so much when we first met. And yet now, but I'll get over it. And I'll get over it a damn sight quicker than they will. Yeah. That's the reality, folks. We've got to understand all this stuff. It's okay for you to get offended by sin. Of course it is. As I said the other day, sometimes we have to judge a situation. But if we try and judge a situation based upon our offence of that situation, then we're going to judge harshly, right? We need to judge the situation based on grace and mercy, not based upon did we feel offended by that. We got courts in our land that do that. That's their job. If you're going to be a son of God and you're going to be someone who's going to judge people at some point in time, as you walk out that being a son of God, and as you start bringing heaven down to earth, sometimes you're going to have to judge people. If you try and do that according to the world system, you will not have any authority from God. God will not give you any authority whatsoever. You will have to basically go back to basics, because you won't have that position. You can't have a position in God's business if you're acting according to the world. Simple as that. And all this point of bringing in the harvest and healing, deliverance, that's God's business. You can't have a place in it. That includes places in churches. Any position in a church. If you deal with things according to the world's understanding, and if you get offended and you change your nature towards someone based upon that offence, you're in trouble. That's not good. Don't do that. Just don't do it, folks. Just understand that, if you don't believe me, go to God. Speak to God about it. Yeah? On this one, I'm pretty sure he's going to have my back on this, okay? It's crazy how, as I say, we're not getting that sort of education. This is where church has got to be looking at teaching people things that are going to help them to walk. They've not been doing it. They've just been teaching things based around, say, the way that they've been taught to do so. And when I was talking about Bible college and stuff like that, why? As I said, just I think it was yesterday, the other day when I did the thing, they're producing these models of pastor, preacher, teacher, who are basically identical, and what they preach is identical. Why? Because they've only got one pattern. They don't have multiple patterns. They don't have certainly the amount of patterns you should have if you're supplying a church of God, because the pattern has to be related to where that pastor's going to be. Okay, you come into Bible college and you're going to be pastoring a church in a little town in, say, Swindon, in England, Swindon. Okay, little town in the Swindon area. You're going to be pastoring a little town now. Well, how you do things has to be catered for the people that are going to be coming to your church. You have to be trained to be able to receive from God as you need to change the way you do things based upon the people coming to your church. Is that what's happening in Bible college? No. I say you go to any blinking church where the people have been trained by Bible college and you will see exactly the same. You will basically, even the way they dress, the haircuts, the way they speak, the way they present is pretty much identical. Okay, yeah, the way they look, probably not. The haircuts, maybe not. But the rest of it, exactly. That's what you're going to get. You know? There's a flutter boy. Hello, flutter boy. You keep going up and then coming down again. You went up this time. Good. Okay. That way I didn't step on you. That's cool. Lovely little butterfly. Look, folks, we have to do better. That's the point. We have to do better. And when I said about the fact that the church can adapt and do as God wants, part of that is teaching people how to walk. You've got to teach people how to walk. You've got to teach people about the nature of God. And as I say, does God judge people? Generally speaking, on a daily basis, no. As you're walking, no. God wants you to do better. He challenges you to do better. He's not trying to judge you, because if he judged you, you'd be dead. You'd be in hell right now. Most people would. Boom, 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 boom. It'd be like Sodom and Gomorrah. Fire and brimstone coming down. That's what God's judgment is. When God gets offended and judges someone and changes his behaviour towards them, that's what you get, Sodom and Gomorrah. Are we seeing that? No. Therefore, the church needs to explain that and help young believers to understand that how they should therefore behave themselves. You know? Behave likewise. You know? If this is how God does stuff, this is how you're supposed to do stuff. This is how you're supposed to behave. The way that God does. When you judge people, how do you judge them? Well, how does God judge people? With grace and with mercy. Okay, I'll do that then. Or do you want to keep judging people according to the world? Because the world doesn't use grace and mercy. The courts don't use grace and mercy, generally speaking. They might use a certain degree of mercy, but generally speaking, no, they don't. What they do is, if you plead guilty, they might give you a lesser sentence, but that's only because of the fact that they don't have to take it to trial. That's all. Trial costs a lot of money. They're rewarding you for saving the country some money. Basically. That's what the so-called mercy is. But if you plead innocent and you want your case to be heard, are you shown mercy? No, you're more likely to be shown a harsher sentence, aren't you? Because of the fact that you've put everyone through going through a trial. Should you? No. Because you're supposed to be innocent till proven guilty. You're not supposed to be pleading out all the time. They're not supposed to be trying to encourage people to plead out all the time, are they? But they do. Is that grace and mercy? No. No. And it seems as if the church seems to be teaching more of that sort of thing. Just asking people to sort of show that sort of level of grace and mercy, which is zero, isn't it, really? People coming this way. Okay, I'll turn the camera this way. Cool. Well, I came this way rather than the way, simply because of the fact that there was someone with a dog going the other way and going slowly. So I thought I'd only catch him if I went the other way. So, yeah. That's a little lab. A little golden lab, quite young. Hello, pup. How you doing? Hello. How you doing?
Hiya.
There you go. How you doing? No, to say that, I mean, in the end, this is the point about church. If it's going to be part of the future, it can only be part of the future if it's going to be doing something useful. Doing what it has been doing over the years, not useful. No. Teaching people that what they need to do is do a bit of volunteer work, do a bit of that sort of stuff in the community, then you're a good little Christian. Does God care about that in any way, shape or form? No. God doesn't. God only cares about you doing charity work and all stuff like that if he's leading you to do that. If he's not leading you to do that, he couldn't care less whether you're doing charity work. It doesn't impress him in any way, shape or form. Only if he's leading you to do that does he care about that. Now, in some cases, God is leading people to do that. But in most, he's not. They're doing it because that's what they believe a good little Christian should be doing. And according to the church, they're right. Yeah, these are the things they do to get nice things from God. Yeah, these are the understandings. If you tithe, if you fast, if you do this, if you do your little bit of work in the church, a bit of ministry in the church, a bit of cleaning up, or a bit of children's ministry, or a bit of that sort of stuff, serving, greeting, that sort of thing, then you're earning your way, for a favour from God because you're doing the work. You're doing what work? Are you doing what God is calling you to do? Oh, actually, good question. What is God calling you to do? Most people, do they know? No, they ain't got a clue. They ain't got a clue because the church isn't talking about that. Yeah, no. Church couldn't care less about what you're called to do. No. So you're all busy doing all these other stuff, thinking that that's going to impress God. It doesn't. No, am I trying to say that I've been impressing God? I don't think so. Well, that's not up to me to say, is it really? It is completely and utterly up to God to say. It's not up to me in any way, shape or form to say that. And so I'm not going to try and say that in any way. No, not at all. Hi. Well, basically, I mean, this is what, to a certain degree, why I got kicked out of the church, because that's what I said in the prayer meeting. You know, we need leaders that are going to teach us how to walk. They're very good at teaching us how to talk, but not very good at teaching us how to walk. I'm saying, Father, help us with that. Give us people who are going to teach us how to walk, because we need to know how to walk, but we don't know how to walk. That's why we're praying for people, you know, that God will do intercessory prayer for people when we walk past them in church. Yeah, this is a church that walks past people with, you know, bad eyes, infection in their eyes that are just getting worse, yet won't pray for them on Sunday. Instead, they will do intercessory prayer for them in the prayer meeting on Thursday. And this is a Pentecostal church. So how? Yeah, I've never been in a Pentecostal church before, and I was sort of looking forward to it, thinking, okay, it might be a good experience, because yeah, Wigglesworth was one of my. And I'm thinking, good, that could be great. And oh Lord, it was as dead as any other church I've been in. And you know, okay, this is what you think church is supposed to be about? That you don't lay hands upon people, even though the Bible clearly says you should do? According to the words, you're supposed to do that. But no, instead you're going to do intercessory prayer, even though you walk past this person and the situation is just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And you're actually saying in the prayer meeting it's getting worse. Aye. That was a very meeting that God said say something. And I did. And they basically said, okay, you need to find yourself another church. Obviously this one isn't working for you. Really? Yeah, I spotted that very quickly. Taking you a while, hasn't it? There you go. As I say, you know, could some of these churches turn around and, you know, turn themselves around and start doing things according to God and have fantastic results? Yeah, immediately. Oh, immediately. And that's what we need to see. I say people need to be taught about taking offence and how to deal with such issues. People need to be taught about that stuff so they can do better. The only place they're going to learn that is in the place where they go to meet. If they're going to a church right now, that's where they're going to learn it. Yeah? So anyway, there you go. I'm going to leave it to it. You take care. God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.